Hi everybody, my name is Alex Turrell. I'm the leader of the Green Party of Quebec, and today we're here in the Rosemont district. You can see the Olympic Stadium right behind us here in Maisonneuve Park, and we've come here today to present the candidacy of Jamie D'Souza in the district of Rosemont. Jamie is somebody that I've had the pleasure of working with at the Green Party of Quebec for over a year now. She was involved in doing some research for us with creating a list of all the different environmental issues in Quebec. It can be found on our website. Really interesting to see the dozens and dozens of environmental issues that our province is facing. Jamie has a degree from Concordia in human environment and also a master's of geography from the University of Ottawa. And it's a pleasure to have her as a candidate here. She's also a member of the Green Party of Quebec Executive. And in her master's degree, she did a research project about the impacts of climate change on polar bear viewing tourism in Churchill, Manitoba. So she's also involved with editing content for a website called the Happy Eco News, so a website that's dedicated to positive environmental news, which is really nice because there's a lot of overwhelmingly negative news about the environment these days. So without further ado, I'll hand the mic over to Jamie.
Thank you, Alex. So I'm very excited and happy to be a candidate for Rosemont in the elections this October. I find that Rosemont is an area that is really progressive in terms of the environment. We have a lot of green alleyways, microforests, and numerous bike paths, but there's always more that we can do to help our planet. So for my campaign, I'm fighting for the ways that we use waste in terms of recycling and textile waste. So the importance for me is to put pressure on recycling companies to know what exactly is being recycled and to find ways that we can repurpose or reuse the things that are not being recycled and that are being thrown into the landfills. I want us to have more transparency about what happens to our waste once it leaves our house. Another important issue for me is to put more importance on textile waste, so fabric, clothing, shoes, because a lot of it is ending up in our landfills. And it's a problem that we don't really hear about that often, but over 60 tons of clothing waste ends up in the landfill in Montreal each year. So, and this is not only coming from people like you and me, but it's also coming from larger companies and from the fashion industry. And this is a problem that we need to deal with right now. I want us as a society to find solutions to minimize our waste, to reuse, repair, and repurpose all of our waste before it ends up in the landfills. If we can do that, we are one step closer to reducing our impact on our planet. I'm excited and extremely proud to be a candidate for the Green Party of Quebec, who puts the environment and the population of Quebec first. For the neighborhood of Rosemont, I am ready to make the necessary changes to make Quebec a more green and happier place to live. So vote for me, Jamie D'Souza, this October, because the time for environmental change is now.
Thank you very much, Jamie, and I think that the people of Rosemont are going to have an excellent candidate for who they can vote in this upcoming election. And I want to take a moment to talk about some of the proposals of the Green Party of Quebec with respect to recycling and more specifically with respect to textile waste. So the recycling industry in Quebec is largely managed by the private sector. The main method of financing that we have for the recycling industry is the profits that are generated when they sell off the recycled plastic and the recycled materials that they recuperate. The Green Party of Quebec is proposing to nationalize the recycling industry. We think that it's important that all waste be recycled, not just the waste that's profitable to be recycled, but all of the waste. And in order to do that, we want to levy eco fees on products, so that the idea would be that people would pay the recycling fee at the time that they purchase a product, and that this would be the way that we would fund the nationalization of the recycling industry here in Quebec. With respect to textile waste, right now there's a ton of textile waste, or many tons of textile waste every day that ends up in the landfill here in Montreal and across the province. And one of the reasons for this is that we don't have the government programs in place to adequately sort through all of this clothing waste and to reuse and repurpose some of it. So you do have some places like Value Village and this sort of thing that will go through clothing donations and will clean them up and put them for sale, but that's really only a very small portion of all of the clothing waste that's being generated on a daily basis here in Quebec. So the Green Party of Quebec, what we're calling for with respect to clothing and textile waste is to have government subsidized free stores. And Jamie is a perfect person to talk about this because at the University of Ottawa she was involved in working for a free store which essentially took the time to sort through all of the clothing waste and to make it available for free to people. And imagine if here in Montreal we would have one or several locations where all of this clothing and textile waste would be concentrated, and that we would be able to have big washing machine facilities and this sort of thing and make this clothing available to people for free. Right now, a lot of the clothing that people buy in the stores is being imported from other countries, from Bangladesh, from China, from places like that, places where the working conditions are not always as good as we would like them to be, and certainly not as good as the conditions that many workers here in Quebec face. So anything that we can do to cut down on our importation of clothing and textiles is a positive step for the environment. Of course, creating textiles, all the dyes and everything that goes with it is hugely damaging to the environment. So any time that we can reuse or repurpose a piece of clothing, and if it can't be reused, well, make sure that the textiles themselves are recycled in an adequate way and not just sent to the landfill and discarded, so that we can start all over again with new clothing. So it's really a pleasure to have Jamie on board. I think that she's going to be a strong voice for the issues of recycling and also of taking care of the environment here. And as she mentioned, this very progressive district of Rosemont. And so I'd like to thank you, Jamie, for stepping forward, for putting your name forward on the ballot. You're going to see your signs coming up in the neighborhood within a couple weeks, and we'll be here to support you all the way till the end.
Thank you.
Thanks.